I thought I knew exactly what I wanted at 35. Now that I'm 46, I've climbed a few of those mountains and realized there's always another mountain. Once you get there, then there's just something else and somebody else is farther ahead. So my true lesson is really sitting still and figuring out what do I really want versus the accolades and all of that and the stage truth and the stage whatever. All of those things is what do I want and how do I accomplish that, and being adaptable.
How do entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and experts like you scale a massive business all while having fun and impacting lives? Welcome to the Play Bigger podcast. I'm your host, Raquel Quinnett, business coach, real estate entrepreneur, investor, wife, and sports mom. This podcast will give you real quick tips, strategies, tools, and inspire you to play bigger in business and in life. Are you ready? Let's grow to the next level. Success in real estate isn't just about one good year. It's about those who could adapt, rebuild, and lead through every season of the market. Today, I'm sitting down with Alissa Gamble, a leader who has seen multiple cycles of this real estate industry, continues to learn, and has had the courage to rebuild her business and team when it mattered the most. If you've ever had to pivot, to reset, or ask yourself, what's the next version of my business, or what does it look like? This episode is for you. Let's dive right into it. Welcome to the Play Bigger podcast. This show is for entrepreneurs who want to play bigger in business and in life. And I am so excited for today's conversation because this woman that you are about to listen to or watch on YouTube has so much insight about the real estate game. So I have somebody special called Alissa, and Alissa Gamble is the driving force from Gamble Premier Real Estate Services. And she's built a thriving business, not only just in the last couple of years, but she's done it over and over and over again. And I love her leadership, her growth, and just how she is so client-face focused with her community, with her database. And she's going to tell you all the things. And I'm excited to dive into her journey so that you get to know this powerhouse that you're listening to and how she is going to share her expertise with all of us today. So welcome to the show, Alissa Gamble.
Thanks for having me, Raquel.
Okay, so Alissa, I know that we have known each other for many, many years, and I have seen you grow through the years. And I want the audience to kind of know a little bit about you. So talk to us about like your journey in real estate, how you kind of like give us like a 2-minute snapshot, high level of like, how did Alissa get into real estate and where's she at today?
Yeah, so I actually have a degree in French, and I was going to do international business. I am a third generation realtor, so I fell into it by accident, kind of in the 2006, 7, 8 kind of boom and then downfall. So I needed a job temporarily, and I started as my dad's assistant, and then I started doing kind of all the roles. So initially I helped administer a new agent program, kind of like a Ignite or a launch, a university. And I ran through that as the administrator about 12 times. And through that process, I also got my license in the evening while I was working full time. And in 2007, my dad made a brokerage shift, and I shortly thereafter followed him. And that kind of began my real estate career as a true real estate agent. I shadowed my dad, Ron. He's been in the business 49 years.
Still in the business?
He just is retiring and transitioning his business over to mine, but up until last year, he was fully producing. And we started together, and then during kind of the crash and the market was tight in 2009, we shifted over to Keller Williams, which was very education based. I love learning, and so it was like a whole new business world for me. I had a business minor and a French major, so I always kind of loved I had an entrepreneurial spirit. And very quickly in 2009, I realized that there was more opportunity, and so I joined a different team. And I was on that team for about 9 months and quickly realized that I think I need to do this on my own. I learned so many lessons in that 9 months, and that helped me when I started my own team, which was about 2010. And then we just kind of naturally, I didn't mean to grow a team. It just kind of, I love helping others. And so people kind of, I may have attracted them. And so we had a small but mighty team that doubled their business up until I think about 2016 when we met. And I joined the expansion team and then further took my team. We did 250 units that year that I joined. And we had about 8 agents, and then over the next couple years grew an expansion, couple different teams. I think I had 5 at the kind of height, and then that was a lot of lessons and face scrapings and leadership that I learned along the way. And in 2023, I left that expansion team and then restarted kind of all new systems. I didn't break the team down, but I reshifted to what I was focused on and to where we are today, where we have 12 producers and 6 newbie agents and kind of growing from there.
So when I tell you she's a powerhouse, I wasn't kidding. And she's probably the reason why I sought her out. And I remember getting back on that plane after interviewing her, and I'm like, she is going to be a good one. I told our CEO, I was like, this girl is so coachable and she definitely wants to grow. And I should say, girl, did you grow? Because you not only grew your team, but like you expanded faster than I think any other region and stayed there for quite some time. So you said that you shifted your business a little bit, your team, obviously, with the different cycles, the different shifts, the expansion, non-expansion. What has been your biggest lesson to like just keeping the team going or rebuilding the team? And you said you didn't have to build it from scratch.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of agents I see will just like demolish the team and start from scratch. It was just bits and pieces at a time. I mean, again, in my 30s, I think I wanted to take over the world. And I thought that had to be like big and huge. And what I ultimately realized through those years, again, I learned a lot about people and leadership, but ultimately my true passion is helping people long term. And I want to be involved and help them not only in business, but also in personal, kind of the whole wheel of life, whether that's your health, because one bleeds into the other. And so really it's about happiness to me is about relationships. And how do I help other people have the relationships and the life they want?
Yeah. When you were like rebuilding, what's the first thing you focused on to get your team back into momentum?
So I had a director of ops for 7 years, and about the same time that I left the expansion team, he decided to move on in his journey. And so the most important part was hiring a new partner of mine. I am really good at very few things, and all the rest I need support on. And I think I learned that pretty early on. I mean, I hired an assistant way out of model. I think I was only doing about 20 units, and I realized I can't do this admin work, or I choose not to. And so I leveraged very early and realized that maybe speed is one of my gifts. Is you tell me to do something and it makes sense, I'll just go do it. I don't question. And then being able, I don't hang on to things like I see some of my peers do. They're afraid to let go, and I let go of most everything that I don't think I'm really good at.
Well, how do you find talent? Somebody that's listening to this, and your assistant, is she still with you today?
He is with me today.
Yeah,
he is a powerhouse. He is way better than me. And hopefully will take over my business when I'm ready to give that up.
So how do you find like talent and then retain talent? Because very few people can do that in this business.
Lots of practice. So again, I'm not afraid to try and fail. I learned that lesson a long time ago. The road to success is paved with failures. And then I follow a system, through recruiting a lot of team leaders and expansion, interviewing and listening to what people want and reading in between the lines. So there's the process of career visioning that I've taken multiple times. There's a class out. And I've kind of morphed that with other personality assessments that I utilize. So one of them is a culture index that I love that for hiring. It tells not only who I am, but then who will be my match. Because just because Josh is a good match for me, it may not be a good match for somebody else, but he's a perfect match for my personality and what I need to complement my strengths.
What have been some of your biggest challenges you face while growing your business, and how did those moments shape the leader that you are today?
What were the biggest challenges? I mean, I think losing people and not being able to meet them or help them get where they want to go is, or wanting it even more for me. I mean, me wanting it, their success more than they wanted it is, I think my biggest challenges is obviously people. And I think just really getting not only the systems and our expectation on value to match their expectations and also get them to put in their effort so that we together can synergize and be greater than the individual parts.
Yeah, so what systems or habits have been most critical when you think about your journey or you think about your business in helping you scale and maintain like high standards? Because like you said, you have like high standards, you guys follow a model, and then if they don't, like you have to part ways and be out of business with people, right?
Yeah, and I think that I've gone through, I'm not definitely perfect in that in any way. I tend to hang on to people too long. And those have been lessons, is seeing the potential in people when they don't want to act upon it. But the systems really is putting them in place. And what probably my number one, I think integrity is very important to me. You asked how I retain, and I treat everybody the same. So what I have a rule, everybody on my team knows it. What I do for one, I'll do for all. So I'm not rigid in my model, but if somebody comes to me and wants an exception, a higher split, wants this or does this, anything that's not in my policies or structure, I will consider it, but I will not consider it for just that one individual. No matter how productive they are, I have to fit it within the model and the business. And so that has definitely helped me with retention. And also, I think, people realize that, I'm not making special deals for anybody. It needs to make business financial sense, which is also what I'm trying to relay to my agents is you're running a business here. We can't just act as we feel every day. We need to operate within standards and consistency within the model with some flexibility as well.
So one of the hardest things that I see in this industry is consistency. And I know I've been in this for over 2 decades, and I find that a lot of agents have a hard time with consistency because it gets boring, Raquel. So how do you motivate a team when the market is challenging or they're not consistent or they're not always showing up every day or whatever the model is?
Yeah, I mean, what we want equals lack. So I really just put that in front of them is if they truly want it, that means they don't have it. Are you willing to put in the effort? Because nothing good comes easy, or nothing comes easy that is good. So I just push goals back in front of them. Are we changing your goals or are we changing your activities? Because one of them has to change. And I'm just pretty like it's not my goal. So do you want to, you're not meeting the minimum standards. And so what are we changing? Your calendar, or are we changing your goals? And usually instead of like, I need you to, which also comes from lack, is do you want to choose to show up? Yeah. And I show up because I have, 15 people I've got to show up for. And that's why if I were a solo agent, I probably would do the same thing, is like make excuses. Nobody cares that I'm in the office. But when I have other people to show up for, so I would tell you, if you're a solo agent, you should hire somebody because you have to then show up for them. I find even my agents, I have an agent that gets a little lazy, my top agent, if you will, or just at the end of the year, she gets a little ambivalent about it. I continue to push her, what is her next goal? And she just literally went into contract on a house and is now lead generating all this week because she's got a house she's building that she's got a mortgage she's going to have to pay. So just even putting little small carrots in between the big carrot of I want to make this much per year, is you gotta attach something to that.
Yeah.
Whether it's I'm going to pay for my kids' college, or I'm going to buy down my debt, or I'm going to buy this fancy car,
Some
or a new
reward.
house, or a great vacation, is it gives you something to work towards and know, why am I getting up today, when sometimes the results don't show up every day in real estate. It's
No.
about consistency.
Correct. And that's probably what makes you a great coach, great leader, and you're one that has always invested in your growth. Why do you think it's important for agents to have, and you said it, have coaches in their world or mentors in their world as they are growing and scaling their businesses?
Well, I think for myself is that I look around, and everybody in any profession, whether it's sports or in a high corporate career, has mentors and coach. So if you want to be the top of the game, I think I've heard a stat that you can only reach 60% of your potential by yourself. You need somebody else to push you beyond where you stop yourself. So to me, a coach mentor helps me see what I can't see, because you certainly can't see it all, and then push me to do things that I might make excuses for myself. And then really for me also, if I want to retain talent, I better continue growing, because if my world becomes any, smaller or the same size as any of my agents, then that's when they look to leave me. So I want to continually be pushing to allow them to push farther. So to me, it's selfish. I heard somebody wise one day say it's selfish to stop growing, because you're keeping your people below you. So I want to continue to learn and grow so I can help those around me.
Yeah, what do you think, what role does your mindset play in the success of agents today, and how do you help your team always continue to push and think bigger and operate with confidence when they don't always have all the skills to operate with confidence for new situations?
Me, mindset is 90% of it. So I am a huge mindset. I have 3,000 hours in neurolinguistics programming, which is all mindset. I think we took that class, the beginning one, together. And that class really changed my whole coaching mindset and the way that I coach to the whole person. And really that oftentimes blocks are actually what's stopping people, not activities. So let me be clear, you cannot have success without action. But if you do not clear your baggage, limiting beliefs, and what you're focusing on, you will only find what you focus on. So we get 126 bits in NLP to what you get to focus on. And if all you're focusing on is how hard the market is, how you have no business, that is what you will find. And if I found it multiple times in my own team, is if that's what you're going to focus on, that's what you're going to continue. And the moment they shift to possibility, opportunity, the business comes to them magically. Where energy goes, energy flows. So mindset is, to me, the number one thing you've got to focus on, and something that I make sure each one of my agents or anybody I coach has a morning routine to get their head right, because we don't always control our first thought, but it's that second thought and beyond that you can really control and move where you want to go.
Yeah. Real estate is always evolving, and I love what you said about the mindset. What do you think are the qualities today that you look for in hiring a salesperson or a team member for your team?
Yeah, I think, again, learning based, integrity, looking to be a leader, meaning that self-leadership comes first. We're all leaders of ourselves. And then some grit. And delayed gratification in this world is real estate. To me, is a long end game. You aren't going to come in day one, week one, and be a huge success. It's got to be a long-term play. So I'm looking for somebody that has a little bit of a futuristic, this is what I want to build, that they're willing to put in the hard work in the beginning, that they're willing to learn and grow and get out there and start feeling.
You said something about like self leadership, and I love that because I think that is so necessary, especially in this business when you don't necessarily have a boss that's telling you you've got to do these things. What advice would you have for leaders who might feel like they're stuck in doing everything instead of like leading their team? And you've probably met some of those people or have coached some of those people where, instead of leading, they're like stuck in all the things.
Yeah, I mean, it really would. What would I suggest is that they look at their calendar and actually figure out where is their highest and best use. If there's any tool, like we talk about systems, mine is my calendar.
Yeah.
Is we all have the same minutes, and I think if they actually analyzed how much they're making with each of those activities, and is there anybody around them that could do that job for less, then and let it go. The 4Ds, which is like delete it, delay it, delegate it, or just do it. And do it is last.
Right.
When I look at my calendar for the week or the day, I go through that exercise and really figure out, is this somebody else's priority or is it mine? I think I wrote 3 emails this morning, like, this should not be me. Who on the team is best suited for this? Josh, because I should not be in these details. I am better suited in different areas in growing the business. And again, when you're doing $20 an hour job, that's what you're making. And it's hard to lead when you're doing admin work or things that other people could do. And I see a lot of people hold on to things because they're scared or fearful that somebody will drop a ball.
Or that they could do it better, right? They could do it the best.
And perfect is great, but done is better. And yet you also got to look at, is this affecting the client or your agent? How much? Or is this more of my ego? I think it's important. Or really, is it making me money, or is it just making my ego feel better?
Yeah.
Either is fine. You just got to determine, what do I want for me long term?
You've obviously matured in business, obviously, the longer that you are. So what have been some of your non-negotiables, or what does their non-negotiables look like today that maybe didn't exist earlier in your career or in your journey?
Well, I tell you, like, before the expansion team, I really was very strict with hiring. So I've gone through ebbs and flows, because then when I joined the expansion team, it was like the quality was in the quantity. And so we had to like open the floodgates. And I learned a lot of like, that also isn't perfect, because there's a lot of crap in that also. What I've learned in really non-negotiable, integrity is my number one, is culture is my number, like right behind there is, it's got to be a good culture fit. I have a very diverse team, in terms of all the things. And what we all have together is that we're all going towards a common goal, which is helping people create legacies through real estate. Aww. So whether, again, all the other things, we appreciate our diversity to me, and we lean on each other for that. But you must be accepting and fit in our culture, or that is definitely a non-negotiable. I have let people go in production that aren't a good fit culturally. And to me, that's what helps breed a productive team is having people that like one another. We don't all have to love each other all the time, but we love working with each other and trust each other. So that foundation of trust.
For the team leaders that are listening that are running teams today, what's some of the things that you do to improve or to bring culture within your team? Are there anything that you do like every year, every quarter, that brings the team together to raise morale, to raise culture, and really have that bonding impact within the team?
Yeah, I think, again, I always am in the trenches with them, so I'll go on appointments, and I think that helps just breathe that I'm still in it with them. I do probably about a deal to 2 a month, depending on the year, and otherwise I'm bringing them on with me. But culturally, we do a culture event every month, so we spend like 1 to 2 hours doing something fun, whether we go to Top Golf or in the summer, we float the river together. And it's not a required event, but I would tell you normally 80 to 90% of our team participates. And that's just something that's in my budget. We do a community event every quarter, and I take ideas, and if we have none, we're planning those. So we've done a couple different activities. We just helped out a past client that was elderly with her yard, and then we've helped out at a soup kitchen. We've cleaned up. So we do something as a community, and then twice a year I do retreats. So I take them up to about an hour away to a mountain town outside of Boise. And I have a cabin up there, so in the spring we do a spring retreat, and they're positioned about 6 months apart. So I typically do it in October, November, more business planning. And then in the spring, it's like a regroup. How are we doing? How's the year looking? What do we need to do? And I make sure that I don't make it too heavy. So a lot of fun, a lot of team building, games, activities, and then sprinkled with more whole learning. So not just like, this is how you sell another house.
Right.
This is like, I'll bring in, a speaker. Or this last fall, I typically in the fall fly somebody in and have them talk about, and it was more about self-leadership this last time, and really seeing who do you want to be, not who does the world want you to be or your peers want you to be, is really finding happiness in what it is that makes you complete. So that, again, it's bigger picture, but not necessarily here's how you sell one more house.
I love that. I love that because I bet people that are listening right now, they probably only do a yearly retreat or advance day, right, with their team. And the fact that you do two, I think is brilliant and genius, because it really does connect, and you're able to pivot a little bit quicker or make adjustments a lot faster when you have two versus one. What do you think is a skill that agents today need to master to stay ahead in the industry?
I mean, we talk about AI through all of that. I think that you need to adapt AI into your business because it'll help streamline. If you do not, it's gonna put you behind. And ultimately, though, it's the basics. Yeah. Because we've been in such an uphill market that we haven't needed skills. So conversation skills are needed, and confidence in what you're saying, and that only happens by practicing and repetition. Is you've got to know how to talk to a seller about a price drop and the market. You need to know the market, and so building those skills of communication and knowing what your market is doing is critical right now in this market.
I say that to everybody: communication, communication, communication. If you can speak to a client and be able to articulate the market, and not just, you leverage AI, but you also need to communicate, you need to negotiate, you need to communicate with the listing agent if you're trying to get your offer accepted. Communication is like so critical, I think, in our industry today. Because a lot of
you can run a lot of stuff through AI now, and it'll spit out all this beautiful data, but then you can't like read it, right? You've got to be able to, and take it in and then build it into a conversation.
Yeah.
So it really is, and interpret it to their specific goals of what they're looking to do and how they accomplish that. So you can be the bridge to the gap.
For sure. What do you think is the most underrated tool or resource or system that agents should be using today?
That's easy. It's your calendar.
Yeah.
Right? So
is there any tips around?
You have no idea how many people I say, show me your calendar, and there's nothing on it. Or they're like, just like your job, if you're W-2, you would have tasks you have to do every day. And I'm telling you, I just looked at a client of mine this morning and was like, your calendar's weak. Why do you not have TBD appointments in there?
Yeah.
If you intend to have 3 appointments a week, why don't you have 4 already pre-scheduled? Why are you letting everybody else control your calendar? You get in the office and you go, what should I do? Like, not just lead gen, who am I lead genning and for how long? Yeah. Or I'll see people have a whole block and I'm like, you're not really going to lead gen for 6 hours, are you? Like, the brain likes specifics. And so utilizing that is the number one tool that helped me go from solo agent to running 5, 6 expansion teams was that I had to time block everything.
For sure.
And I would tell you the one tool is a CRM if you aren't using it, but like to help you, and then your calendar.
Yeah.
And it's that simple. Is all the other stuff are flashy, certainly can help you, but if those are the two things I could not live without.
I could not live without my calendar. I just wouldn't know what to do if it got destroyed. Thank God it's on every computer.
Right in the cloud.
What's one lesson that you would like to pass on to the audience that you've learned throughout your journey?
I think that having a long-term vision and just being adaptable with that. I thought I knew exactly what I wanted at 35. Now that I'm 46, I've climbed a few of those mountains and realized there's always another mountain. Once you get there, then there's just something else and somebody else is farther ahead. So my true lesson is really sitting still and figuring out what do I really want versus the accolades and all of that and the stage truth and the stage whatever, all of those things is what do I want and how do I accomplish that instead of just trying to keep up with the Joneses, if you will, and being adaptable.
Yeah. And I think the other thing that I am so impressed with you is, you've been, like I said, in the business for a long time. And one of the biggest things that I've seen these last couple of years is your transformation in health. You want to speak about that? Because I think it was like a year or 2 years ago, I was like, oh my God, Alissa, what happened? Was there something that drove that change? Was there something inspired you, for those, because like you said, we talked about mindset. Now there's things that you want now that are different than when you were in your 30s. What do you think
it's a journey for my health, but yeah, I've lost, I think, 70 pounds in the last 6 years, and I did it incrementally. So, I've done several things, but that's what I did is layer it. And I think Seth was the one time told me, because I was frustrated that I wasn't making progress, and he said, well, you're really good at business. What are you doing in business that you're not doing in health? And it was like an aha moment, and I was like, I don't have a coach. You talk to everybody about health and they have conflicting information. And so I finally just went and spent the money on a coach that could look at my individual body and numbers and all of that and tell me what my body needed. And then slowly, like month by month, add things in. So just by, looking at my glucose and monitoring things to slowly changing my eating habits. And I'm still not there. But I think it started when I was 40, Raquel. At 40, I think it was the magic number. I didn't feel old. I just felt like, okay, I'm getting older and I want to be here for my kids. And I think I bent over to try to tie my shoe. I was never really self-conscious. I just felt uncomfortable and was like, I can barely tie my shoe at the moment. And I got to do something about this. And so I just started by going to the gym. And then again, that moment of I need to hire a coach to get me the right things for me and look at me individually.
Congratulations, because you look amazing. And I know it's not easy, just like real estate isn't easy to be consistent because you don't see what after one workout results. I don't care what anybody says, you may feel tired, but you won't see it until the after part, and you have to stack those habits to actually see a result when it comes to your health or it comes to working out. So congrats. What's something that you're most excited about that you're working on this coming year?
Well, I did just, so I own a cabin in 2 acres in Garden Valley, and I just made an offer on the surrounding 66 acres. And so I am in contract. So now I have some things to do. I'm really just excited about that planning. That's kind of my 9-year plan is to move up there, but to create an event center and ultimately start building towards that. That is kind of my new 9-year vision and working back towards that. And then really we focused on systems and building value for our producing agents. I shifted from more of develop newbies, which is what I was known for, creating newbies and growing them into full producing agents. And now I really am focused on how do I add value to those already in production. So that really is now moving that into some momentum and creating systems so that I can step out and start doing some things with that property in Garden Valley that is going to hopefully turn into my legacy.
That is exciting. You inspire me to want to go find property out in North Scottsdale to where all the land and the acreage are to go build something. Oh, I'm so excited and I can't wait to visit. You definitely have Brad wanting to go to Sun Valley, I believe, or your area to go look at the properties. Well, where can people connect with you, Alissa?
I'm on MinigerGamble.com or Alissa@MinigerGamble.com is my email. And my phone number is 208-283-2996, and I always take calls and texts. And I love to help in any way I can.
What's your favorite book that you've read?
What's my favorite book that I've read? I love Rocket Fuel is probably the one that I use the most. I constantly reference the MREA just in the basic models and systems. And I was trying to think scaling. I recently read a book about business scaling that was really good, but
The Science of Scaling?
The Science of Scaling, yes. That was also really good. It's just trying to condense your goals into shorter time frames to get you to really analyze and push time.
Amazing. And as we wrap up, there's always one question that I ask every guest on the show is, what does Alissa do to play bigger, either in business or in life?
I take time off. That's what I'm going to tell you is I recharge. I am very intentional about recharging at least once a quarter and having my time, quiet time to reflect, ponder, and then make adaptable changes if everything kind of isn't in line.
Amazing. And where's your next trip?
Belize. We went to Belize in January.
That's so exciting. That's so exciting. Well, thank you, Alissa, for being on this show today. I so appreciate having you on the show, always seeing you grow, and I'm excited to see what's in the future for you as you continue to play bigger, my friend.
Thanks, Raquel. Look forward to seeing you soon.